Welcome back, my students, to Comic Class, and for the next few weeks, we're going to be jumping into the Grant Morrison run on JLA. And yeah, so I have about 6 videos that are going to be coming out, covering each of the 6 story arcs that were under Grant Morrison. And yeah, so I've heard a lot of good things about Grant Morrison's JLA. I had read the first story arc, The New World Order, so I was very prepared to make this video, but I am going to be doing a review of the next 5 story arcs as well, covering the entire run of Grant Morrison on JLA. And I hope you guys subscribe and get ready to watch all the other stories that were in this run, because JLA by Grant Morrison, at least so far, is pretty great. But let's jump right into this story. So the New World Order story arc basically starts off with these people called the Hyper Clan. They come from space, it seems, and they arrive at Washington, D.C. to make their appearance. Now, the Hyper Clan basically is like a mock version of the Justice League of America. They pretty much have their own counterpart of each Justice League member, and it's pretty cool. Each one has a very unique design. Their leader is Protets, I believe is how you pronounce it, and he basically proclaims that they're here to save the world. Now, the Hyper Clan basically take over the entire planet, and they kind of help the planet get rid of crime. Now, they are solving multiple things like natural disasters, wars, and stuff like that. And they pretty much are just taking on anything that is kind of like a nuisance on humankind. Now, Protets basically is like their version of Superman, and he basically is like supposed to be like their shining beacon, and he pretty much tells the humans that the Hyper Clan are here to save the world, and he pretty much leads them into defeating tons of humanity's problems. Now, after this, Superman is questioned about what he thinks about what Protets is doing, and apparently Protets and his team basically turn a whole desert into kind of like a forest, but Superman seems kind of like, hesitant to believe that all this is happening. It just seems too good to be true. And Protets basically tells the people, after they start attacking Superman for, kind of getting mad that these people are kind of like doing the job that the people want the Justice League of America to do. Protets basically kind of makes fun of Superman, saying that he's here to save the world with his team, kind of implying that Superman and them just sit on their butts doing nothing. So that was pretty funny. Now, there's a huge moment that happens after this where Protets basically executes a supervillain and basically tells them that things are going to change, where they actually execute every person that does wrongdoing. Instead of doing a trial and getting a sentencing on that, these people, the Hyper Clan, are basically being jury and executioner, judge, jury, and executioner, and it's pretty bad. And Superman does state that this isn't going to happen again. Now, the Justice League of America station that's in space gets attacked basically by some of the Hyper Clan members that are part of their army, basically, which we'll learn later on are actually white Martians. So there's a whole battle going on, and Batman basically states that they're gonna be going to war with these Martians because they're trying to take over the world. And Batman himself and the Justice League of America realize that these people are not good people, and they definitely have some sinister intentions. So we get to see that the Hyper Clan basically erect these type of structures. There's about 3 of them, and they basically say that they're going to be like their headquarters to take out more crime over the earth, around the earth, and it's just crazy. So Protets basically and all of his minions, they go to battle with the Justice League basically, and Wonder Woman fights against the female member of the clan. Also, she fights against the shapeshifter, the giant strong guy that shapeshifts. And we get a lot of good action panels during this moment in the story. Wonder Woman's a very fantastic character. We get to see Aquaman kind of join the fight as well with Wonder Woman, and Aquaman isn't really interested in fighting for the Earth because he doesn't feel like the ground people are going to fight the people in the sea, but Wonder Woman basically tells him that he can't take that chance, so he does join the fight against the Martians. We get to see that the Flash and Green Lantern take on Zoom, which is the speedster of the group, and I believe the other guy, the strong dude, is named Armek, and that's a really cool fight. that begins in this issue. And then we get to see that John Jones is basically talking to Protets, trying to get him to join their cause because he understands that they are white Martians and he is a green Martian. So they're kind of part of his race in a way. So that's really interesting. John Jones doesn't do too much in the story, but he is a very key player in the book, though. We get to see that the female member basically attacks Superman with some type of magic or something. They are pretty powerful. We get this Grim Reaper type looking character in the Hyperclan as well. So that was pretty cool to see him fight too. But during the fight with Superman and the female member, they basically attack Superman with kryptonite. Protets does, and this pretty much just cripples Superman, which we'll learn later on there's something behind all this kryptonite stuff. But yeah, so apparently Batman is thought to be dead because they shoot down his bat jet or bat plane, and Protets basically drag Superman to their headquarters that is in Antarctica, and it looks like Superman is defeated as well. Superman is getting kryptonite poisoning, which is making him kind of delirious and just imagining things, and it's just pretty crazy when you get to hear what Protest's plan is in taking over the Earth, kind of like just killing all the humans. Now, Batman arrives at the headquarters because they think he's dead, and we go back into the fights with the Justice League members. The Flash basically accelerates so fast that he reaches almost light speed, and it hits Zum so hard that he reaches escape velocity, which is the necessary speed to kind of exit the orbit of the Earth, or to exit the atmosphere. So how Zum survived this, I have no idea. This just shows that the white Martians are very powerful, that he was able to survive a punch with that much force that made him go to escape velocity. And the panels where he gets completely destroyed by the Flash is fantastic. Probably one of my favorite moments in the book. We get to see that Green Lantern is fighting against Armech and this other guy that uses some type of shield, and he pretty much gets defeated. Armech and the guy with the shield by the Flash teaming up with Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner, and that was really cool to see that they had the end of their fight. Now, these villains get defeated, but they're not completely defeated yet. So you get to see that Batman is kind of outsmarting the Hyperclan and showing them that he understands what their weakness is. And it's really cool how Batman was able to take out Immortal, which is the Grim Reaper looking Hyperclan member. And eventually they kind of corner him into a corner. They back him into a corner, and Batman reveals that he understands that they are white Martians, and he uses a ring of gasoline to draw them in, and then uses fire to kind of like defeat all three Hyperclan members that actually tried to take out Batman. Now, they underestimated Batman. Batman doesn't have powers, but he does have intellect, and he basically uses fire on the gasoline to kind of defeat all three members that were going after him. So that pretty much takes out the three Hyperclan members instantly. Now, during this, basically, Protets realizes that his members are being taken out one by one, or at this point, 3 at a time. And he pretty much determines that he's going to bring the armies to Earth, because he has armies that are like them, the White Martians, to all come down to Earth to take over the Earth and kill all the humans. Now, it's during this moment that Superman realizes that the kryptonite was never really there, and that it was a Martian implantation in his mind, and he basically uses heat vision to attack Protets and kind of like gets ready for battle against him. So Protets basically, rips off his shirt, and they start to engage in a battle, which is a really cool fight to see between Superman and Protets. Now, during all of this, we get to see that John Jones makes an appearance again. He's fighting against the female member of the White Martians, and it's really cool to see, that he's just completely just wrecking these people. Now, John Jones is one of the strongest members of Justice League, so it's not, unheard of for him to be able to take on these type of strong opponents, but it's just crazy to to see the type of damage he does to this woman, as well as other members of the HyperClan. Now, Protest basically finally reveals himself and how they actually look as a white Martian, which was a really cool scene to see. And he basically tries to envelop Superman in some type of like goo or his body essence. And while this is happening, basically Superman kind of like tries to deal with him, and we get to see the different members of the HyperClan getting defeated. They defeat them by basically having Aquaman use a type of thing in his brain to cause him to have a seizure. And Wonder Woman basically suffocates the female member in space in a battle of holding their breath, which is really cool. And the final person they have to defeat is, of course, Superman versus Protest. So Superman basically fights against Protest, and we get this really cool scene where Protest basically says that Superman is like a god to the humans, and that he doesn't understand why Superman doesn't just tell them that he, hates them, that they're inferior. He even says, in your heart that they're inferior. And this one, Superman lays one final punch, knocking Protest out, and basically saying the best line in the story arc, which is, "They believe in me, and in my heart I believe in them," which is the essence of Superman's character. And I think that Grant Morrison did a really good job with all the characters. I can see why his run is considered the best in all the JLA, because this is Superman's character. Now, after this, basically, they have to figure out how to defeat all the white Martians that are landing on the ground. We get this funny moment with Batman stating, how long he's able to hold his breath, kind of like bragging to Wonder Woman, which is, pretty impressive that he is able to hold it, he says, for 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, he says he'd be surprised why. So hopefully we get that story later on throughout the run. But after this, basically, Superman basically uses telepathic abilities with John Jones to talk to the people of Earth and basically tell them to use fire against the Martians, and this actually works. I think that was an amazing way to end the story arc, that the Justice League and the humans both work together to bring peace to the world once again. And after this, we get to see that John Jones basically is left with Superman, and Superman says that John Jones can determine what's going to happen with the White Martians, which John Jones replies that he does agree with this, because only he can understand being a Martian himself and the type of, punishment that they're going to have to receive. So I guess they're going to go back to the Still Zone, which was a place that they were in prison. And maybe they'll come back in a future story arc, but we'll see about that. So I like that development between John Jones and Superman, since they're both the same type of character, and that they're the last of the race. So I really like that they had that interaction by themselves at the end. And the story arc ends with them in the Watchtower, the Justice League of America Watchtower, looking at the Earth with Kyle Rayner saying "nice view." And that's the end of the story arc. So the New World Order is a fantastic first story arc to start off the JLA Grant Morrison run. I had read it a while back. I had totally forgot until I was getting the material for this video on how good this story arc actually was. And I can't wait to read the next 5 story arcs in the JLA Grant Morrison run. I'm not sure if once I get to World War III, which is the final story arc of the Grant Morrison run, if I'm going to continue with the JLA run with the, I believe its name is Mark Waid, with the Mark Waid run, because that does contain the Tower of Babel storyline, which, a lot of people will probably want to see my take on that and what I thought of it. I've never read it completely, so I will want to check that out. But until next time, guys, be sure to like the video, show your support. I am going to be covering in the next few weeks the other 5 story arcs that come after this. Like I said, I want to cover the entire Grant Morrison run. And you have any recommendations for any story arcs / runs you want me to look at for, DC or Marvel, leave it down below and let me know. Until then, remember, guys, God bless you, and I'll see you guys on the next lesson.
I am who I'm meant to be. I am who I'm meant to be. Over and out again. My future needed clarity, so I could see how you